here at the FIBO in Cologne, Germany, and we are doing our franchise checks for all 16 franchises of the European League of Football for the 2025 season. And I'm lucky enough to be sitting right next to our in-house expert on all things ELF football, Matt Bressington. And now we are doing the Western Division, sort of a heavyweight division right here. And we're going to start off with the Paris Musketeers. This franchise is entering its third season of existence. They've gotten better each year, made the playoffs last year, all the way to the semifinals. Matt, give me a little rundown of the history of this franchise.
Oh my God, time moves fast, doesn't it? It feels like just yesterday they're into the league. They came in with so much expectations, probably the highest expectations we've ever had of a team, and then they go 6-6, which was very disappointing for them and for the fans. Everyone thought they were going to be contenders. They were like what Nordic is this year, times like 5, in my opinion. And then this season, they go 10-2, struggle to beat Rhine. That was the only real thing they couldn't do. Apart from that, they looked fairly comfortable, but just those big wins, they couldn't get them.
Exactly. I mean, all those expectations. Let's not forget, though, in that first season, they started out with a juggernaut of a schedule, and they had to play the Rhine Fire. They had to play, I think, Frankfurt. They had to play Stuttgart, who was really, really good at that time. So they came out with perhaps the hardest schedule of a new team ever, and they did take a big step forward this past year. Now, talking about expectations, man, the expectations are probably even higher than they've ever been now that they've got former NFL head coach Jack Del Rio. But let's talk about this season and some of the players that they've lost, some of the players they've retained, and some of the new players that they have acquired for this year.
Indeed, let's get straight into it. Departure-wise, Dawson Dales, our favorite inside linebacker, our fastest player in the league.
God, I love Dawson Dales.
Me too. God, I love me some Dawson. I miss watching him on tape.
I miss Dawson Dales.
So he's left the team. You know, he doesn't have him anymore in the middle of the field. That is going to be a loss for them. He was a captain of that team. He was a big part of their identity. You remember how hyped everyone was when he scored that rushing touchdown. Even more integral, Zach Edwards. Not in the league this season, had to go back to the States, but Offensive Player of the Year last season. To lose that is huge, and he's a dual threat. You know, he had one of the best seasons for a quarterback that we've ever seen in the league, and to lose that is massive.
It is absolutely massive. He's been kind of a staple in the ELF, so a bit sad that he's not going to be in our league this year. But Paris was able to retain a couple of key guys, including Austin Mitchell.
Absolutely. Austin Mitchell's a blazer speed-wise. So fast.
So fast.
I think we've referenced the playoffs about 6 times because every playoff game was so good. But that return where he just outran everyone. They stopped kicking to him in the game. They just kicked out of bounds. He was so fast.
You know about his uncle?
Yeah, he was like an
Brian Mitchell is like the all-time leading return specialist in NFL history. Like, bro, it's in his genes.
It's a family business for Austin Mitchell. And he got 1,000 yards his debut. It's not easy to do. And then on the offensive line, Lewis Thomas, one of the finest guards we have in Europe. Very low-key, doesn't talk a lot, but he gets a lot done. Glenn Tonga's Hamburg season, he had Lewis Thomas in the middle. Ali Khalifi's Rookie of the Year campaign, he had Lewis Thomas in the middle. And then this year with Paris, they've got him coming back, and he's a phenomenal talent.
And we're not just saying that because he's British, just like Matt, okay? This is genuine praise that he deserves. All right, the one that I am most excited / curious about, and I think a lot of people are, new addition, Jalen Henderson at quarterback, coming from the GFL, back-to-back champion with the Potsdam Royals, now coming to the Paris Musketeers. Thoughts on him? Is he going to live up to expectations?
There's so much to Jalen Henderson's game. It's incredible, honestly. So when I looked into the numbers, first time I looked at, he's the least sacked quarterback in the league. So that means he must have a good offensive line. You get into the tape, no. He's just so good at avoiding pressure, getting out of the pocket, throwing off platform. He can throw 70 yards off 1 foot. Incredible talent with his legs and with his arm. He's also a very clever player. He's going to be taking a lot of the offensive identity into his own hands and crafting a lot of that offense. He is one of the best prospects we've ever seen in the European League of Football.
Man, high praise for him. And also, I did an interview with him a couple months ago, and I was very, very impressed with his mental state, with his poise, with his composure, just the way that he conducted himself. I think he's going to be a real leader there in Paris. Okay, how about on the defensive side of the ball? Because we talked about Lamonte McDougall in the signing center on ELF Live. He's one of the few interior defensive linemen as an A spot. Thoughts on him?
So strong. I mean, his reps and his upper body strength is incredible. He's suplexing 250-pound men. That's That's not easy to do. His leverage plays into it. He may be a little bit shorter. He's only about 5'10". It's not incredibly big for a defensive lineman. He gets underneath the pads. His elbows are nice and tight. Drives through people. He also has a little bit of finesse to his game, a nice little swim move that he can use to affect the pass rusher. He is going to be an instant impact player in the middle of that field.
Okay, there we have it. Now, with all that being said, let's take a look now at their 2025 schedule. Matt, you and I are making the predictions here, the bold takes. I'm going to handle the front half of the season. Yep. Matt, you handle the back half. And let's start off 2025. Do the Paris Musketeers finally beat the Rhine Fire? Yes. Ooh. Give me that W. Musketeers with the win. Stuttgart Surge. Look, everyone likes to paint me as this Surge homer. I don't work for the Surge anymore. I am a completely unbiased character, but they are going to lose.
Oh my goodness gracious me! Who would have guessed that?
I'm full of integrity in my predictions, Matt. How dare you question my integrity? Frankfurt Galaxy, they're going to get the W.
Okay.
Rhine Fire, like I said, I think I had Rhine Fire losing their first 2 games of the season. They're going to get their footing with some of these new players. Chad's going to settle into that system. I have them losing to the Rhine Fire the second time they play them. Go ahead on the bye, and then they're going to beat the Frankfurt Galaxy once again. So I've got them at 3-5 for the first half of the season. Or excuse me, 3-2.
Yes, I was going to say that'd
be bad. 3-2. Take it over.
Bit sketchy in terms of their form there. I think they're going to pick up in the second half of the year. I think they're going to win against Cologne, and I think they're going to win against the Mercs. It's a good couple of wins, gets a little bit of a streak together. However, look at that little combination of games. You got the Vikings and then the Surge. That's brutal. I think the lack of roster they put on paper at the moment, they're going to lose both of these games. So I think that's going to be real tough. I think they lose both of those, and then they finish strong with 3 wins, including that final win against Vienna.
Wow. Okay, you're saying they're gonna make it up and they're able to beat Vienna eventually. So you got them now finishing at 8-4.
Interesting. Yeah.
Or we've got them finishing at 8-4. You know, I like that you had them losing to the Surge as well, because that kind of gives me a little bit more credibility, because you're not a Surge homer. Yeah. 8-4 right here. Is this enough to get them into the playoffs?
It might not be. You have the Surge in the same conference. If they lose both times to them,
right?
It might make wild card, but that's going to be a tough sell.
Dude, this is so crazy this season. Like a team as good or potentially good as Paris that, hey, yeah, maybe they're a bubble playoff team. We don't even know. I mean, there's just so many great teams right here. All right, what would have to go right for Paris for them not to settle as sort of a bubble playoff team, but for them to be sort of an outright legit contender with Jack Del Rio and Jalen Henderson immediately? What would have to go right?
I think at least a win against the Surge. You need at least one of them, otherwise that conference is gone. 2 wins in that is going to probably spell the end of the year. They need to keep Henderson healthy. That goes without saying. They also need to create an identity on this defense. They have Jack Del Rio, who's a former NFL Coach of the Year. Ray Lewis, Von Miller. You know, these are just 2 of them. There's like literally you could go down. Champ Bailey, another one. Like there's the whole no-fly zone was him as well. Like they have an amazing coach defensively, and they need that to create more opportunities for their offense to score points. And I think that's how they could beat the Surge if they are to.
There we have it. So that is our franchise check for the Paris Musketeers out of the Western Division for 2025. There you have it.